You know this show's going to be wild. Welcome into First Take. Thank you for being with us on this Feel Good Friday. He is Max Kellerman. I'm Molly Karam Rose, and I would be remiss if I did not mention, oh, there he is, Stephen A. Let me just say this quickly on a serious note. We're kicking off Memorial Day weekend. Thank you to all those that sacrificed their lives, of course, for us and their families and all the servicemen and women. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, gentlemen, we ready to talk some playoffs? Do you have anything else you need to add from Hotlanta?
Oh, don't start. Here comes the Knicks stuff.
What's up, y'all? What's up? It's Friday. Y'all in New York City. You're supposed to be there representing. But unfortunately, Molly, Mrs. Connecticut, the queen of Connecticut, and Max Kellerman, the traitor extraordinaire, that dude right there who should be barred from city limits. Okay, what's going on, y'all? Somebody had to be in the ATL representing New York. Somebody had to be here.
Are you done?
Look at them.
The first round. Are you done? Okay.
Right.
Let's talk about somebody who might actually win the chip. The Lakers made it look easy with a hobbled Chris Paul and a disgruntled Devin Booker taking a 2-1 lead back at Staples in front of Laker Nation for the first time in a playoff setting since when? April of 2013. AD dropping 34. LeBron, talk to me.
It's always special to play in front of the Laker faithful. We hope our numbers continue to rise as the series goes on. We can get more and more fans in the building, but it's a beautiful thing. It hasn't been a playoff game for the Lakers in Staples Center since 2013, so it's a special night, and we just try to reward our fans with their loyalty that they have for us, and just try to play the game the right way.
LeBron icy. I was trying to figure out what that second chain is. I couldn't tell. Stephen A., did LeBron and AD prove that they are the best duo in the NBA?
No, they didn't. Because they're going up against a depleted Phoenix Suns team that clearly is not the same without their leader, their floor general, the point guard extraordinaire that is CP3. His name is Chris Paul. That's number one. And number two, they haven't gone up against the Brooklyn Nets yet. So I guess if you want to go by default and look at their past history and say that they've proven that, fine, so be it. But this year, talking strictly about this season and what they've got to go up against, I reserve the right to wait until they go up against Lethal Weapon 3 in Brooklyn. And oh, by the way, you know what? I mean, we don't know who they're going to face as the Western Conference continues forward. Utah is no joke. I'm paying attention to that. I'm watching Denver with their victory over Portland last night. I'm looking at a few things right now. Anthony Davis and LeBron James are elite. They are all world. We get that when 100% healthy. But I've been questioning their health for quite a while now, their durability, for obvious reasons. And I'm still questioning that right now. So I'm looking at it from that perspective. And I'm saying I'm going to take a wait-and-see approach because Phoenix is not the same Phoenix team they were in Game 1, not since Chris Paul got injured. And I feel sorry for Phoenix. I really, really do because I like that team.
One question. I just need a quick answer. Before Chris Paul got injured, who were you picking to win the Lakers-Suns series?
Lakers in 7.
Yeah, right. I'm sure that was because of Montrezl Harrell and Dennis Schroeder. LeBron James and Anthony Davis are the best combination in basketball. It's the best 1-2 punch in basketball. It's the best 1-2 punch since a prime Shaq and Kobe. The only contender between then and now is KD and Steph in Golden State. We're talking about the all-time topmost echelon 1-2 punches, LeBron and AD. And while your injury point is a valid one, even just last night, AD hyperextends, what did he hurt his knee? What happened? LeBron was so passive early in the game. I thought maybe his ankle's bothering him. I don't know. He got much more aggressive in the second half. But even with those concerns, Stephen A., you and I were both on the same page before the playoffs started as it relates to the Clippers and the Lakers, right? Hey, if the Clippers are really ducking the Lakers because they hope that the Lakers get a little more worn down and the injuries get exacerbated and that gives the Clippers an advantage later in the playoffs, is that the best idea? Or is the best idea to catch the Lakers cold before they get ahead of steam? And we both agreed, catch the Lakers cold, because once they get going, it's a wrap. Utah and Denver aren't beating this Lakers squad with LeBron and AD. Not only are they great offensive players, like all-time greats, they're great defensive players, as Kendrick Perkins pointed out on this show the other day. No, the best 1-2 punch in basketball is LeBron and AD.
Well, let me say this to be clear. We shouldn't even be talking about LeBron and AD as a dynamic duo against this Phoenix Suns team because their only formidable frontline player is playing in his first playoff series ever in DeAndre Ayton, who already, again, had 22 and 11 last night. And that's about what he's averaging throughout this series. But this is his first playoff series. We know that Phoenix is significantly undersized. We look at the girth and the mass of the Los Angeles Lakers with Andre Drummond along with AD and LeBron James and a Montrezl Harrell. And we said, excuse me, if you're the Lakers, you're going to big boy them all series long because you certainly don't want to run up and down the court with those young thoroughbreds, assuming that CP3 had been healthy at the time, obviously. You don't want to get into no kind of up and down running game with the Phoenix Suns. That's not how the Lakers are going to win this series. They're going to win this series by playing big boy rules, by putting girth and mass on the court, by forcing them to turn into the perimeter team that they are because you just got too much size and girth against them in the interior, and you're going to slow the tempo down and you're going to big boy them by crashing the boards, beating them up and things of that nature. So if you know that going into the series against Phoenix, then this isn't the testing ground to validate LeBron James and AD as the dynamic duo. We can go on reputation. They are the reigning defending champions. We know that it is a dynamic duo. They top 2 or 3 in the world, if not number 1. But in the same breath, against the Phoenix Suns ain't the testing grounds to look at. Let's see what they do against Utah. Let's see what they do against Brooklyn. Let's see what they do against guys like that, and then come talk to me.
Well, okay, look. DeAndre Ayton first. He's the number 1 overall draft pick, and he's good. He was already pretty good, and we can see from these playoffs he's getting real good. Like, I hear what you're saying about the matchups, but DeAndre Ayton is a real guy. That's no cupcake. That's number 1. Number 2, who's the competition for LeBron and AD as a dynamic duo? The competition is KD and James Harden. I know you said KD and Kyrie. No, that's not. KD and James Harden, and that is real competition. But I got to say, the reason, because LeBron and AD are better two-way players, that it really is a competition we're looking at is because they're coming off injury, LeBron and AD. So are KD and James Harden. Like, we got to see how it all holds up. We like the Nets, you and I, because then they also got Kyrie.
Me, I don't even count you. I don't even count you with the Nets. I don't care that you picked them to win the championship. It took you about 6 months. Even after James Harden arrived, you still said I needed to see their defense improve.
That's right.
I told you about it, and you waited 2 months.
It took me 2 or 3 weeks after Harden got there. It's the middle of the season.
Excuse me. You said no to them. You picked Philly at the beginning of the season. Then when Harden arrived, you stuck with Philly, and you said the excuse was you didn't give a damn what Harden brought to the table. Their defense was so horrid that there was no way.
And it got better.
Then I
the defense got better.
They only need to improve by a little bit. They could be the 25th ranked defense, Max.
Well, congratulations, they did.
And you said no, and then you turned around and said, I changed my mind. What else is new?
That's right. I turned all the way around. See, look, the facts change, and I changed my mind. Just like that. The facts change, and you were right. The defense got okay. It's all they needed.
Okay, so let's just clarify for the people at home. So you're saying LeBron and AD are the best duo, Max Kellerman, correct? And,
not best duo.
And Stephen A., you need to wait and see how these Brooklyn Nets play out?
Because I think with Harden, and yesterday I said Harden and KD, but I've always been about Kyrie and KD offensively. But when you take Harden into the equation, his ability to control tempo, run the show,
that's fair. That's fair. We've only seen them play together like 10 times, so that's totally fair. Let's move on, because I want to zone in on the end of the game last night. Here's the deal. With less than a minute to go in regulation and LA up double digits, Dennis Schroeder drove into the paint against Devin Booker. And as Schroeder began to elevate, you can see right there toward the basket, Booker delivered a two-handed shove to Schroeder, who hit the court hard, rolled out of bounds. Booker given a flagrant 2 and ejected from the game. Booker obviously frustrated. He scored just 19 on 6 of 19 shooting in the loss. Jay Crowder also ejected for continuing to talk trash with Schroeder. Max, I'll start with you here. Was this Booker play a dirty one?
Yes, of course it was dirty, just like the Chris Paul play was dirty. Look, Devin Booker was frustrated last night. The Lakers' defense was working. They're a great defensive team. They're the best defensive team in basketball. And we knew once Chris Paul was compromised, what I say yesterday, Devin Booker can play on ball. He's a combo backcourt guy, but he's best when he can be an offensive weapon. And without Chris Paul creating stuff for him, he's got to do it all himself. The Lakers know that too, and they did a great job on him. He was frustrated, Stephen A. That was a dirty play, and while he wasn't way up in the air, it was also kind of a dangerous play. And Chris Paul's play on LeBron was the same. And I got to say, the way we look at someone like Belichick, and maybe that's taking it too far because he's really been scandalized, but some dudes are so competitive, we know they'll bend the rules if they think they can get away with it to help them. Chris Paul is one of those guys for me. I think it's having an effect on the team. He's ultra competitive. He gets away with what he can get away with, and Devin Booker tried it last night, and he got caught.
First of all, it was a dirty play, and he deserved to be ejected. I understand that. But let's pump the brakes. I've seen far worse. The game is so incredibly soft these days. I mean, please. Shooter was barely an inch off the ground when he got shoved. I mean, again, you got to call the eject. You got to call a flagrant foul. It's got to be an ejection. I saw Devin Booker speaking before he got ejected, and you could just see their level of frustration because their whole thing is that, man, if CP3 were healthy, we could take these guys. We could take these guys. They know we compromised. They talking smack. They're trying to big boy us. They're getting physical. And by the way, it is difficult, and I feel sorry for Monty Williams to a degree. I've got several plays that I've looked at. It is difficult to coach against LeBron James because LeBron James gets calls that other people don't get. LeBron James gets a lot of favorable treatment, even though there are times where this physicality that's exerted against him that doesn't get called enough in his favor. I'll give him that as well. But there are times where, you know what, you see plays that are called against another team. It could be traveling. It could be anything. They get called against another team that never get called against LeBron James. And that's very, very frustrating for an opposing coach. And it's frustrating for other players. And when you combine that with CP3 not being healthy, it is a challenge for Phoenix. You can see it written all over Devin Booker's face last night because obviously he's got more responsibility when Devin Booker isn't out, when CP3 isn't out there, even though Cameron Payne has been doing a really, really good job. I've been really impressed with that kid. He has surprised me. But you can see their frustration, and he acted out, no doubt. It was a dirty play. But let's not act like, oh, my God, it was one of the worst things we've seen. This league has gotten so soft. It's we've seen far, far worse than what Devin Booker did last night. Yeah. Far worse.
Yeah, it was dirty.
All right. We'll leave it there. Guys, another story I want to get to here. The Bucks looking like men amongst boys, owning the Heat in Dade County, a 29-point win. Pat Riley, not a happy camper, visibly annoyed courtside. Milwaukee taking a 3-0 lead thanks to Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, and Giannis. Giannis, he's focused, man.
Yeah, we're gonna stay focused. The job's not done here. You know, we got one more to go. Obviously, in the game 4, Miami's gonna come out even tougher. They're gonna play better.
We got to get one before we can get anything else. We control what we can control, and that's how we play. That's how we prepare, and how we compete. We're not too worried about what history says and all of that good stuff. But we got our work cut out for us.
So history says the Heat, they don't got a chance. Teams up 3-0 in a best-of-7 series have never lost 140-0 over 60% of the time. The team down 3-0 gets swept. On that note.
Swept.
Yeah, or swept. What did I say?
Sweep.
Whatever, I hate you. Can we come on camera now? Thanks. Hi, Big Perk. Max is just schooling me over here with his Ivy League education.
It doesn't take an Ivy League education.
This guy.
I would hope
no one else is amused. Perk's mad at you. Yeah.
Molly, I just cannot believe Stephen A. this morning. I really can't. I've been sitting up here watching this, and I just can't believe the words that he uttered out of his mouth just now about that foul that Devin Booker did on Dennis Schroeder. Did you see in the way that Dennis Schroeder landed? He could have tore his ACL or something. That was a dirty play.
Stop it.
This man is off balance. He could have twisted his leg and tore something. And then you said that LeBron James get calls, and you can understand their frustration. I recall a play in the first quarter where CP3 tried to flop on Anthony Davis, was running down the court, and Scott Foster having to be running on the side of him, and CP3 literally took his hand and chopped Scott Foster's arm down and got away with it. Anybody else would have got
I saw that.
a foul.
CP3 gets 5 steps to the basket.
I saw that. No. Well, first of all, I don't know why you can't believe it. First of all, I've seen you breathe on people harder than Schroeder fell last night. So let's stop that, okay? Number 2, you are right about the CP3 slapping of Scott Foster. I did see that. You're absolutely right about that. And the other thing about it is this. Here's the deal. We can say what we want to say because I'm not denying that you're right about LeBron James in some aspects, but I'm not wrong about what I said either. There's a lot of things that he doesn't get, and then there are a lot of things he does get in his favor. And all I was really trying to say about Phoenix last night, you could see the Lakers big boy in Phoenix and talking smack to them. Phoenix got frustrated. Devin Booker got frustrated. You could tell that they're a team that'd be like, listen, look at how we played in game 1. Look at how we played in game 2, even with CP3 down. Man, if we had him healthy, boy, could we take these dudes. You can see the frustration.
Listen, Peachtree Street, you don't need to defend yourself right now. Let's stay focused on the subject here. Stephen A., do the Bucks have...
Excuse me?
I said Peachtree Street.
Peachtree?
Yeah.
I'm on Peachtree Street.
You're in Atlanta. You've never heard of it?
Yeah. I've heard of Peachtree Street. I just don't think that's where. I'm on Pleasantdale right now, but I got it.
Oh, my gosh. It's a joke. Could we just go, please? God, you guys are disasters today. Stephen A., do the Bucks have a big 3?
Yes, they do. It's time we stand up and look at Middleton. He's coming, y'all. He's coming. Now, let's stop the presses for 1 second here. Let's not think about the past. Let me do a Mark McGuire here. I'm not here to talk about the past. I'm not here to talk about the past. I'll stay right here. Middleton, if he continues to play the way that he has been playing, Brooklyn's got a problem. The brother is making shots, and he's making shots in clutch moments as well, as we saw in game 1. Now, obviously, they blew him out in game 2 and annihilated them in game 2. And then game 3, we saw what we saw last night. This is a sweep. Bring out the brooms. Remember Galifianakis in the movie The Campaign with Will Ferrell, which was absolutely hysterical, and I love that movie. He said, I'm bringing my broom because it's a mess. And that's what's going on in South Beach. There will not be a game 5. It is over. It's a sweep that's coming their way. And it ain't just because of Giannis. It's because of Jrue Holiday. It's because of Middleton. It's because of the fact that the 3 of them play on both ends of the floor. And if you've got that going on, okay, remember, the Greek freak can do what you need him to do for the first 40 to 43 minutes of a game. But when it's time to close, you need dudes that can make shots from the perimeter, and you need dudes who can defend. And right now, when you look at Middleton and you look at Jrue Holiday, they could potentially have something to say about it. I like what I'm seeing from them right now. I can't ignore it.
And guys like Bryn Forbes can't miss, by the way. Budenholzer deserves some credit so far for the way they're playing in this series.
Max. Forbes. Look, you're right about Forbes.
Yep. Yeah. Now, this is not really directed at you, Stephen A., because you weren't here this day. This is directed at Molly, Perk. I don't remember if you were on, Chris Canty and others who tried to sit here with a straight face and tell me that I was crazy for saying LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Love was a big 3 because they didn't consider Kevin Love, who's a 5-time All-Star, All-Star.
That is not what you said.
Yes, it is. 2 times.
No, you didn't. You said
have your. Go ahead.
The argument was that it wasn't that we didn't say they was a big 3. You called them a super team.
Right, because they had a big 3, and then you started arguing.
Yeah, he's right.
And then you started arguing with me about it wasn't because of Kevin Love. Now, Kevin Love was a altogether 5-time All-Star, max contract player, traded for a number 1 pick, made 2 All-Star teams with the Cavs, and they went to 4 finals and won a championship. I was told he doesn't qualify as a member of a big 3. But 2-time All-Star Chris Middleton, Jrue Holiday, who once made an All-Star team in 2013, that qualifies as a big 3. It's a big 1 with 2 other dudes who are sometimes, once in a while, All-Stars. A big 3, look in Brooklyn. Perennial All-Stars, all 3 of them Hall of Famers, 2 MVPs on the team. That is not what Milwaukee has. Milwaukee has a big 1 with 2 dudes who are really good, not quite great, but good players, and a real good supporting cast. That is not a big 3, y'all.
Well, Max, first of all, the argument that we had before I interrupted you when I was on the show with Chris Canny and Molly was that you called the Cavs Big Three a super team. And I said that they weren't a super team. Just because you have a big three don't make it a super team, okay? That's the first thing. Second of all, the Milwaukee Bucks do have a big three. And look, you're a numbers guy. Check out the stats. Giannis is averaging 24 and 16 right now. Chris Middleton is averaging 22 points and shooting 43% from the three. Drew Holiday is averaging 16 points, 10 assists, and 7 rebounds. Is that not the making of a big three? Look at that stat line. Okay, so you have guys that are capable of putting up those.
Takes two of them.
Oh, my God, Max. What else do you need? I was on the team with a big three, right? With a Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and Kevin Garnett. They didn't all
now that's a big three.
They averaged 22.
I'm not talking about the averages.
21. I'm saying, like, when you talk about a big three, Max, you talk about the now and what their production is on the floor. I'm looking at this Milwaukee Bucks team, and they have 3 guys on the floor that are capable of carrying this organization to the finals. They have 3
Drew Holiday,
guys
an all-star. Don't you think
Max,
you have to at least make an all-star? You be an all-star to be a member of a big three? I'm not saying the Hall of Fame just make it be an all-star.
Hey, Max,
Drew Holiday was the all-star.
Hold on, KP. Max, could you stop? Because, see, I'm glad that KP brought that up because that's what you do all the time. See, when you take a multitude of positions or you sit up there and say, well, y'all didn't understand what I said, so let me explain. Then you can turn around weeks later and say, well, I said something that and then somebody else comes and say, no, that's not exactly what you said. We just started off the segment. What did I say? I ain't here to talk about the past. I'm talking about how they're looking. The way that they're looking. Remember the question mark.
Saying.
No, exactly. No. That's what we're saying now. So in other words, if you're responding to what we're saying, pay attention to what we're saying. Okay. We ain't talking about the past. The way Drew Holiday and Middleton are looking right now, I'm saying that could potentially be a big-time problem for the Brooklyn Nets. Because what we were looking for from Middleton, what we're getting from Middleton now, we didn't get from him last year.
I understand that, and Middleton can play at an all-star level, and I like Drew Holiday a lot. But everyone knows what we mean when we say a big three. It means perennial all-star caliber player. Drew Holiday's not one of the 5 or 6 best point guards in the league.
I got a question.
I love him, but he's not. Yeah.
Real quick. Does Philadelphia have a big three?
Does who?
Yes or no? Philly.
No.
But did you pick Philly at the beginning of the season?
I did. I don't think you need a big three to get picked.
Thank you.
Yeah,
but we're telling you Milwaukee got a big three, and you saying you don't think they need a big three.
The question is not can Milwaukee win, it's do they have a big three?
Yeah,
and we said yes.
Max,
I say no. That's what we're arguing about.
I'm just trying
Last
to
word,
figure
Kendrick.
out right now in the moment, the Milwaukee Bucks are up on the current Eastern Conference champions, 3-0. And Drew Holiday, Giannis, and Chris Middleton are putting up big three type numbers. Why are they not considered a big three right now?
So they're playing like a big three right now.
Okay.
For 3 games of the series, they're playing like a big three. That's your argument?
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. And I bet it can be hard work. You know it's easy? Bundling policies with Geico. Geico makes it easy to bundle your homeowner's or renter's insurance along with your auto policy. It's a good thing, too, because you already have so much to do around your home. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. It's Geico easy. Visit geico.com today. That's geico.com.
Hey, this is Bomani Jones. What's your favorite podcast? Let me tell you why that'll be number 2 after you listen to mine. 3 times a week, I'm going to challenge you to keep up with me as I discuss topics from the latest in technology and music, and people getting dunked on. Also, you'll get the very best analysis of the games, and we watch them with encyclopedic level historical connection. Plus, we have got a community of guests that you'll feel like are your closest friends in no time. Listen and subscribe to The Right Time with Bomani Jones Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
The city of New York is buzzing about their basketball teams as not only are both in the playoffs, but both have home court in the first round, which hasn't happened since 2013. Speaking of 2013.
Had home court. The Knicks had home court.
Whatever, Max. You're killing me today. That's the last time the Knicks made the playoffs, won a playoff game, and won a playoff series. This year's Knicks have accomplished the first two on that list. And the Nets tonight can take a commanding 3-0 series lead against the Celtics if they were to win. They are 8-point favorites despite playing at Boston. Let's focus on these two New York squads. Max Kellerman, what would be a bigger failure? The Knicks losing in the first round or the Nets losing in the finals?
Obviously, the Knicks losing in the first round. I'm not trying to hear, just like Stephen A. said, I'm not talking about what was. I'm talking about right now. You reset expectations. I'm not trying to hear, well, the expectations in the beginning of the season, those have been totally reset. The Knicks come in as a higher seed than Atlanta. They had home court. It's going to be a tough series. If they lose it, they lost in the first round to a lower seed, no matter how you slice it. If the Nets win in lose in the finals, the big three that's played 10 games together, including the regular season and postseason so far, with KD coming off a catastrophic injury, with Harden hurt most of the year, joined the team once the season began, with Kyrie missing all those games, no time to develop rhythm or chemistry. If they get all the way to the finals and lose to, say, the defending champion Lakers, you know what they're going to have to do, even to get to the finals? They're going to have to go through Milwaukee, right? Or is it going to be the Sixers? Or is it going to be some other combination of good Eastern Conference teams? Milwaukee, we just said. Everyone's saying, hey, they might go all the way this year. Look, by the way, look what Budenholzer's done with the whole thing. And Giannis doesn't have to initiate the offense anymore. I was just told they have a big three in Milwaukee, plus guys like Bryn Forbes and guys like that. Look at the Philadelphia 76ers defense. Thibault emerges with Simmons and Danny Green and Embiid and all the shooting with Seth Curry and everyone else. You mean to tell me you get through all that and then you get to the Lakers and lose in the finals, and that's a bigger disappointment than getting bumped by a lower seed in the first round? Get out of here.
You know, Max Kellerman, I usually would be tempted to say is Spot Kellerman at work again. But I'm not going to call you Spot Kellerman. Your new name is Vicky. You know who Vicky is, Max?
Vicky.
Who's that?
Remember Vicky, Max?
Where?
iRobot with Will Smith, the computer.
Yes, I do
My
remember
logic is undeniable.
iRobot. I don't remember Vicky exactly.
That's right. No,
I don't know
she's
if I
the
like
robot.
being called Vicky.
It's the robot. It's the system. It says my logic is undeniable. My logic is undeniable.
Yes, that is
That's
true.
you, Max Kellerman, because that's
Yes.
how you feel.
Maybe I am
Because you're
Vicky.
thinking about Philly. Because you're thinking about Philly. You're thinking about Milwaukee, and that's where you are with it. Clearly, you have no pulse for New York anymore. I don't even know why you're around. I don't even know why you tell people you have a residence in New York. Why don't you just leave town? You have no idea what you're talking about when you talk about what will happen.
Where are you
Understand
right
something
now?
here,
Where
man.
are you right
Let me
now?
go. I'm only in the ATL because the Knicks are here.
I
New
don't
York
presently
stands
have
up.
a
We here.
residence in
We-
Los
we- we
Angeles.
here.
Do you,
We
Molly?
here.
I don't have one in Los Angeles
anybody-
either.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Excuse me.
All right.
Excuse me.
We here.
I'm just saying I
We
don't.
Here, okay?
That's all I'm saying.
We here, all right? Here's the deal, y'all. If you look at the New York Knicks, okay, I understand what your point is, Max, in all seriousness, when you talk about the first round. But what I'm saying to you is I get to lean on the expectations you had coming into the season. Nobody expected anything from the New York Knicks. And here they are winning 41 of 72 games, going 41 and 31, being a fourth seed. And by the way, you had identical records to the Atlanta Hawks and the Miami Heat. And when you look at the Atlanta Hawks, led by Trae Young, with Bogdanovich, with Collins, with Hunter and these boys, these brothers can play. And so when you look at them, you like them a lot, and you recognize the fact that from a talent perspective, they actually have more talent than the New York Knicks. It's just that Thibodeau's exceptionally at coaching defense, and the New York Knicks are grinders, so you come playoff time, that could propel you to victory over a superior talented team. When you look at that, and you say, if you lose in the first round to the Atlanta Hawks, all right, we didn't like that, but damn, we had a good season. KD comes to Brooklyn. Kyrie starts off the season and don't want to talk to anybody and bringing up everything from the Israeli-Palestinian conflict to stuff that's going on in the inner city communities. And we applaud his philanthropy, his political conscience, his political conscience, and all of this stuff. We applaud all of that. But when you look at that combined with Harden and how he came from Houston to Brooklyn, and you take into account their resume, Kyrie, champion, KD, two-time champion, two-time NBA Finals MVP, James Harden, 4-time scoring champion, okay? Former league MVP. The combination of the three, the most prolific offense, and you said it yourself, when all is said and done, these brothers will be the greatest offense we've ever seen. To come up short in New York City with everybody in the streets raving about the New York Knicks, it'll be a bigger failure for the Nets not to win the chip than for the New York Knicks to lose in the first round.
No, because the Nets will have taken control of New York by then if they make it all the way to the finals. And the town can flip, at least temporarily. At least temporarily. I remember in '86, the Mets took the city from the Yankees. It wasn't permanent, but it was for a year or two, maybe 3 years. The Mets had the New York more than the Yankees did. I remember this. The town can flip at least temporarily. What? Yeah.
How long did the Mets have New York?
Between 86 and 88, I would say it was a Mets town.
You need to be tested. That is not true.
It is.
When they made their run and they won the World Series the Mets
check
had
the
New
attendance
York for 2 or 3.
Check the attendance. Check the TV ratings.
And my godson Nicholas, is that what you did? A different kind of orange? They must
Let's
be
not
special.
go down
They
this
have
rabbit
never
hole.
had New York like that.
They did.
Ever.
By the way, it pains me. I hate the Mets. I'm a huge Yankees fan. It pains me, but it's true. The point is this about the Brooklyn Nets. If they were to fail against the Lakers, it would be a problem for KD. You lost to LeBron when you're crewed up. It would be a problem for Harden. James, you can't. It would be a problem for the players, and it would be an enormous celebration of LeBron's greatness, right? He did it again, just like he beat the Warriors. But the Nets would be in good shape. They just went to the finals. Their future looks great. The city will have been buzzing about the Nets for a month after the Knicks were done playing, Stephen A. That's the bottom line.
Let me tell you something. Max Kellerman. Can't have it that way, bro. Think about how prolific they are. Who are the Brooklyn Nets? I mean, we know about Joe Harris. We know about Blake Griffin. We know about Steve Nash and Mike D'Antoni. But who are the Brooklyn Nets? You know it's about those three individuals. And if they lose, Max, they get all the attention. All of it. Absolutely all of it. Kyrie left Cleveland because he didn't want to be sunned by LeBron James. He departed from Cleveland because he wanted his own squad.
It wouldn't be good for Kyrie or KD or Harden.
He didn't want to be no little brother to LeBron. That's well documented. KD,
all that's going to happen, Stephen A.
He believes he's the best in the world. I mean, you know how bad it would be.
All we would say is these dudes barely played together, still almost won the chip, and then next year we'd expect them to win the chip.
That would be fair. But that's not what people would say. That's not what people would say.
It's the first time they have 3 players averaging over 24 points per game in a single season.
That's the alternative title to this show.
That's the
Agree to disagree.
Oh, okay. There we go.
The WNBA is on its way back.
Playing basketball in a pandemic looks like this. No mask, no 6 feet apart. To put yourself in harm's way is a scary decision.
We are dedicating this season to Breonna Taylor.
The unity that we were able to experience was something that we won't forget and we can lean on as we move forward.
I would do it all over again because it's bigger than me. It's bigger than my teammates.
ESPN Films presents 144, presented by Hyundai. Now streaming on ESPN+.
And how about this? Oh, it is officially Tebow time in his hometown in Jacksonville. Our Mike Duraco, who covers the Jags, described the scene like this. He looked like a tight end. Yes, you heard that right. Tebow got extra coaching after blocking drills and at times looked a little hesitant or a half step behind in others. But he caught every pass thrown his way, including 2 touchdowns, one from Trevor Lawrence and one from Gardner Minshew. On that note, we bring in my guy, Ryan Clark. RC, where are you? We need to see this man on camera. No, don't say anything yet. Listen, RC, last time I brought this up, you were very salty. You were very dismissive of this subject. Did you hear what I just said? Our report says that he looks like a tight end, that the transition is seamless. He is catching touchdowns from people like Gardner Minshew, okay? So I will ask you this. Is this now a story, Ryan Clark?
Hell no, it ain't no story. Let me tell you why it's not a story. Here's why it's not a story, Molly.
Why?
If the way you have to bring it on is say he caught every pass. He's supposed to. Like, that's what tight ends do. They catch the football when they're thrown to them. That shouldn't have to matter. We shouldn't have to point out that he caught 2 touchdowns or that he was hesitant in blocking drills or that he got extra coaching. This is the story because of who it is, and we do TV. We are media. We are media staffers, and so we have to talk about it. But Tim Tebow is not a tight end. Tim Tebow is the friend of Urban Meyer, who is a very good person, who people truly love, who is from the Jacksonville area, that's going to sell some preseason tickets and some jerseys. Tim Tebow's not going to play the tight end position. And then now we hear some of these speculations that Tim Tebow could be used in a Taysom Hill role. And this is a Diana Rossini report, and she's talked to other executives in the NFL. But they don't know that he's going to be used in a Taysom Hill role. They just can't believe for the life of them that he could ever be a viable option at tight end. That you're going to sit this dude over Myles Garrett and say, hey, protect Trevor Lawrence from Myles Garrett. Give Washington an opportunity to run inside the C gap because you can block Jadeveon Clowney. Those things aren't going to happen. So he must have to be a gadget guy, right? He's going to be Taysom Hill. When Tim Tebow was 22, he ran a 4.7. And yes, he's in better shape. Yes, he takes care of himself more, but he's not going to be faster than that. He's not going to create explosive plays for you. And if you put him in that position, you actually get less athletic at quarterback going from Trevor Lawrence to Tim Tebow. This is the story because it makes good TV, not because Tebow is going to play good football.
Go ahead, Max.
Oh, you want me to? Oh, well, of course it's a story, Ryan. Whether you like it or not. I know a lot of people don't because sports is supposed to be meritocratic, and he got an extra opportunity because he played because he's from there. It's his hometown, because it's his old college coach, because everyone loves Tim Tebow, right? All the fans love Tim Tebow. And so that bothers a lot of athletes, and I'm not saying it shouldn't. I'm saying he has the opportunity. And what did we always used to say about Tim Tebow? I don't know if he's a quarterback. He's a football player. I don't know if he's a quarterback. And coaches can figure out what to do. When you say gadget guy, it means he's a square peg, doesn't fit into a round hole. But can he do something on the field? Of course he's not going to be the quarterback on plays instead of Trevor Lawrence. That's not what a Wildcat is anyway. Can you line him up somewhere on the field where he's also a threat to throw the ball? Yeah, I think you can. Like, at first when I heard about this, Ryan, at first when I heard this story, it's like, okay, they'll bring him in. I thought Molly had the best theory. Really, Urban Meyer wants him around the team as a hype man or as a coach or something. Good luck charm. But how are you going to sell that to Tebow? So you get him through the door with a with a tryout, basically. But the deeper we get into this, and he has a contract, now you're hearing good things about him, it seems to me like it's an actual story, because we're asking today, can he play in the NFL this year? There is a non-negligible chance the answer is yes. That's a story.
Ryan Clark, I want you to listen to me, and I want you to listen to me carefully, because I'm very serious with what I'm about to say, and it's not going to be pleasant to a lot of people, but I don't give a damn. I'm going to say what I believe to be true. It is a story, but I'm going to tell you why it's a story, because it's sad. Here's the reality of the situation. A little over a week ago, I got a text message. That text message was from Mr. Sean Hannity. You know why I got that text message, Ryan and Max? Leave Tim Tebow alone. That was his message. I got a text message from our old buddy Will Cain, who used to be on this show and did a great job on radio and was here for a few years and all of that stuff. And we got love for him. Will Cain was here, and now he's at Fox, and he was hosting a primetime show for a week. He wanted me to come on as a guest to talk Tim Tebow. You know why? Because as you know this, and you'll know it when I say this, Ryan Clark, there's a lot of people who know football. There's millions upon millions upon millions of people who don't. But they watch, and they watch for their own little reasons. And when it comes to Tim Tebow, Do they remember that he completed 46.5% of his passes as a quarterback in 2011? No. They knew he could run with the football. They knew he got on one knee and prayed. They knew that about his religion, and he wore that on his sleeve unapologetically, and we don't knock him for that, okay? I personally got a lot of love for Tim Tebow. I'm rooting for him. I called him to let him know I'm rooting for him. But it doesn't negate the fact that he is the walking embodiment in this particular situation of white privilege. Just like Steve Nash, when he became the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets, was the walking embodiment of white privilege. What does white privilege mean for everybody else out there that would say, Stephen A., why would you bring up that? Why would you bring up race? I'm pointing to the fact that the opportunity that has been accorded to them is not something that would happen for us as black people. There is not a guy that is black that really couldn't play the quarterback position, that has been removed from the game for years, who would be brought back to play a different position. That would not happen for black folks, period. There is not a black man that could never coach on any level, ever. And the first job he gets is as a professional basketball coach in the NBA, coaching a championship favorite, his first ever job. That does not happen for black people. I don't mean to bring that up to cast aspersions on Steve Nash. If I'm Steve Nash, I take that job. Steve Nash is a good brother. His agent for years is the great Bill Duffy, who happens to be black, an elite as an agent as there is. And Steve Nash is a phenomenal person. Tim Tebow is one of the best people I believe I've ever met. I love Tim Tebow, and I hope he succeeds, and I'm rooting for him. But it doesn't negate the story. And the story is that because he's a draw, because he's local, et cetera, yeah, that's justification. But the bottom line is,
Stephen A., real quick.
He's white.
Stephen
and his whiteness helps. And that's why he's in that position. That's part of it.
As it relates to Steve Nash, I disagree with you. I mean, your point is well taken. Warren Moon, it's the opposite of what you said for black people. Warren Moon was a quarterback who wound up in the Hall of Fame, who had to leave the NFL because they wouldn't let him play quarterback. It's just the opposite. Play another position. No, I'm a quarterback.
Tell me how you disagree with my Nash point.
The Nash point is this. Nash got his job there because of relationships, primarily with KD and Kyrie, it seems to me. And if Steve Nash were black and had the same relationships, I believe he'd still be head coach.
Stop right there. I'm not saying that. See, this is what, and I'm glad Ryan's here for this. When we say that, Max, we're not saying he got the job because he's white. That's not what I'm implying. What I'm saying is the relationship and the position that he's in, that's not something that happens for black people. It only happens for white people.
Well, it hasn't
he didn't get
happened.
The job because
Whether
he's
or
white,
not it can happen, it has not happened.
People.
So those are the facts.
Yeah, but I think we're underestimating also the. Go ahead, Ryan.
Oh, no, I'll let you go. But I think the big thing here is this. Obviously, whenever there's an African American who brings up white privilege, you get the eye rolls, there you go again. With Tim Tebow, it's definitely white privilege because I think he embodies a lot of what white America feels at times, right? The all-American, you can do it if you try. If with hard work, anything is possible in America, especially if you're that color. But I don't necessarily think it's just white privilege with him. I think it's fame. Right? Because I think it's the same way that Michael Jordan could do certain things, or hell, J. Cole could go play in Africa. I think it's that fame. What it is with Tim Tebow more than anything is that relationship. That relationship with that white coach who believes in Tim 100%. Tebow, who also hired a man that was accused of racism at Iowa because he was his friend. This is more good old boy club. This is more nepotism, more familiarity.
We got a bump, and I'm sorry to cut off a sensitive subject. I think we're also underestimating. We're underestimating the religious piece and how he galvanizes people because of the Christianity and inspires them as well.
Scott Van Pelt here. If you haven't checked out the podcast SV Pod, what are you waiting for? We're like right directly in the flight path for helicopters flying in and out of DC. Otis the dog, barking at deliveries, high-level intellectual conversation, some gambling talk, talking with athletes, celebrities, musicians, and more. Also, we got my guy Stanford Steve riding shotgun, trying to keep me out of the ditches. Download and subscribe to SV Pod wherever you get your podcasts. We certainly appreciate it. Rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff.